Hi there, this is Akash. I'm working as a senior engineer here at Velotio. I have my expertise in building full stack scalable applications from ground up. Today I'll be talking about Prisma, which is a modern ORM layer for developing Node.js backend applications. Before we go to Prisma, let's talk about ORMs. So, what is an ORM? Object Relational Mapping is a technique to query and manipulate the database using object oriented programming, which basically makes it easier to access and organize the data as objects. ORM allows us to define the data models as a class-like structure. For example, here the model user is having properties such as ID, first name and last name. We can also declare and define the constraints that we have to have on the data models. For example, here the user ID field is having primary key and a default value assigned as UUID version 4. So the ORM does the heavy lifting of handling the conversion of this syntax to plain SQL and then to optimize the queries needed to be performed on the databases. Now that we know that ORM offers better productivity and speed of development while using them, let's talk about why exactly Prisma is better than those ORMs or plain SQL. Prisma claims to be offering better productivity compared to those ORMs and slightly better control over those ORM options. Obviously, it's not as controllable as plain SQL or SQL query builders. There are a few points that Prisma is better at. For example, type-safe database queries, abstraction that makes write things easy, lesser boilerplate, frictionless schema changes, database support, and flexibility. Also, a support for wide range of tools makes Prisma unique. One good thing about Prisma type safety is it not only allows you to have type safety at the level 1 but also on the related relationships that you might query in your database. Prisma offers a strong abstraction layer that makes complex queries easy to write. For example, in this snippet here, we are seeing that we are fetching users posts where the user's email contains prisma.io. We are also specifying that we want to apply a where clause on posts relationship with the users. We have the posts are not published, and we are also ordering by the title in ascending order. We are also specifying which fields from the posts model we want to select, and this is all covered under the type safety Prisma offers. Prisma is type safe. It offers strong abstraction over common operators that we use in SQL or in document database queries like or, and, starts with, ends with, contains, and so on. Frictionless schema changes. So let's say we have this user model in our Prisma schema, and we have already deployed the schema to the database and the data changes are already applied. So adding a new change to the schema is as simple as writing a new field in the schema file in Prisma. For example, home phone, which is having a type of string. So after we add this to schema and run the command prisma migrate dev and the name of migration, it will create the SQL file for us and also apply the migration to the database. Remember, we are using prisma migrate dev. Dev is the staging database we have. This nicely built SQL file is auto generated, and the sequence of these changes is already maintained using the migrations folder that we have in our project base. Prisma supports for vast range of databases that are available in the market. So commonly used databases include Postgres, MySQL, MongoDB, SQL Server, SQLite, and CockroachDB. So as you can see, these are the most widely used databases for application development. Along with all the development tools, Prisma does offer a introspection feature. What introspection means is basically to identify the details of some database. For example, you have an application that is using an existing database which is already running in production and has a schema that is already been defined. So you're not starting from scratch using Prisma, but you can adapt Prisma in that project. How? Prisma basically offers a tool where you can simply run a command prisma db pull, and it will be pulling out your schema from your database and generating a prisma.schema file. This will also generate a Prisma client that you can use to query the existing database you have from your new Prisma application. Basically makes it migrating to Prisma very seamless and offers a great flexibility when you consider Prisma in your project. Let's look at a few of the ORMs and how they compare with Prisma. When we are using TypeORM, we often deal with mapping the database table to model classes and then importing these model classes inside our services and repositories. So there is a fundamental difference between TypeORM and Prisma is that Prisma does not mix up the business logic and data storage logic like the TypeORM do. Also, Prisma does not lack in the support of type safety, which might be the case sometimes while defining TypeORM data models. When we talk about Sequelize, there is a clear gap of type safety with the data models that we use with Sequelize, whereas Prisma offers a type safe client that is also richer in API for querying the data as compared to Sequelize. When we compare Prisma with some kind of document database ORM such as Mongoose, Prisma does offer a lot of abstraction on top of the existing filters or query selector that MongoDB or Mongoose offers. Apart from that, Prisma is type safe. It offers relational database queries. For example, the following query will return all the users' posts where the title contains hello, which is slightly different when we do it inside the Mongoose itself. So Mongoose does not really offer any dedicated APIs for filtering the relation filters. You can get similar functionality by adding an additional step like aggregate framework, but Prisma offers this out of the box, which is a really good point of using Prisma over Mongoose. As we have seen, the Prisma offers many good features compared to the traditional ORM we have, and it's a good alternative for most of the projects if you're using any major databases out there that are supported by Prisma. And Prisma does help us to increase the development speed and allows us to have flexible schema changes whenever needed.